This is 7 News.
Tonight, 3 men killed in a horror crash as a Commodore slams into a tree.
Sound of a freight train crashing.
The Peel Health controversy. A whistleblower admits she lied about her identity. Tears from the PM as 2 senior ministers quit, forcing a cabinet reshuffle.
It's obviously an emotional day for us.
And heartache as flood victims are at last allowed to return home.
I haven't seen devastation like this since Vietnam.
From the studios of 7 Perth, Blake Johnson.
Good evening. 3 men have been killed as their car slammed into a tree in Morley. The force of the impact wrapped the car around the tree. Alexis Donkin reports.
Paramedics try desperately to revive 3 men trapped inside the wreck. A job made extremely difficult. The car is wrapped right around the tree. The bodies had to be cut from the high-powered Holden Commodore. The impact threw the V8 motor 50 metres down the road. The front passenger seat ended up in the back of the car.
We woke up about midnight to this sound of a freight train crashing, and we came out the front, and the only way I can kind of describe it is like a piece of paper being wrapped around a tree.
At least 30 people ran out into the street. They wanted to help and administer first aid, but the damage to the car was so bad they couldn't get inside.
Absolutely no signs of life at all. I'm not a doctor, but it looked like they were dead on impact.
Police say the male driver was 43. He was still in his work uniform. The passengers, 34 and 31. 7 News understands one of the men was recently married.
This tragedy will affect hundreds of people, and it's unfortunate. Perhaps some poor decisions made at that time last night have resulted in this terrible tragedy.
It's not clear yet how the crash happened. The speed limit on Morley Drive is 70. Police say they're investigating if high speed and alcohol were involved.
Still shaken up, really shaken up. It's not something I've seen before. It's, I really feel for the families. I really do.
Alexis Donkin, 7 News.
It's feared as many as 150 dolphins could be stranded near Albany. They've been spotted in shallow waters in Whalers Cove at Two People's Bay. At least 1 dolphin has died. The Department of Environment has sent wildlife officers there to help the dolphins into deeper water at high tide. Two People's Bay has been closed to the public. The whistleblower behind a WA corruption inquiry has confessed she lied about her identity. Ashton Foley has spoken exclusively to 7 News, confirming she was arrested on fraud charges in the United States. But she says her past shouldn't be used as an excuse to stall investigations into Peel Health. Jessica van der End reports.
She's the whistleblower commended for her courage by a parliamentary committee investigating Peel Health campus. But Ashton Foley has now confessed this is her mugshot. Arrested as Michelle Marie Foley in the US in 2008 for theft by deception.
Can you tell me your birth name, please?
Michelle Marie Ashton Foley.
A dossier obtained by the West Australian exposed Ashton Foley's past. She first denied Michelle Foley was her, producing her daughter's death certificate as proof she was in Victoria when Michelle Foley was jailed. But she's now told 7 News it's true, speaking from her new home in regional Victoria.
I was 22 weeks pregnant with my twins. I thought that it would be better that if I was portrayed that I was actually working when I wasn't, and so I was dishonest on the credit application.
Released on $8,000 bond, Michelle Marie Ashton Foley returned to Australia later that year.
There is currently a bench warrant out for your arrest in the United States.
I became aware of that this week.
Why, when you were first asked whether you were the woman arrested in 2008, why didn't you admit that?
Fear.
Why is this all so important? Well, Ashton Foley was Chief Operating Officer of Peel Health when she says a taxpayer-funded incentive scheme paid doctors to admit more patients, even if they weren't sick enough. Ashton Foley says that wasn't a lie, but an independent inquiry into Peel Health may now be delayed.
This casts a cloud over the timing because I think the credibility of witnesses, of all witnesses, will need to be substantiated.
Do you stand by all of your testimony with regard to Peel Health Campus?
I do, 100%. What went on at Peel Health Campus is a disservice to the state from a taxpayer perspective, to the people who reside in that region, and most importantly to the patients.
Jessica Van Der Ende, 7 News.
3 days after setting the election date, Julia Gillard's campaign is in disarray with the shock resignation of 2 of her senior ministers, including WA Senator Chris Evans. It's forced the Prime Minister into a major cabinet reshuffle and denials her most trusted colleagues are deserting a sinking ship. 2 Australian radio hosts will not be charged over a prank call which ended in a nurse taking her own life. Prosecutors say there's no evidence to support a charge of manslaughter against Sydney announcers Mel Gregg and Michael Christian. They were taken off air after they called the hospital where the Duchess of Cambridge was being treated for severe morning sickness. Nurse Jacinta Saldana, who transferred the call, was found dead 3 days later. An inquest will open next month and Australia's media watchdog has opened its own investigation. Residents of Queensland's worst-hit flood zone have finally returned home to North Bundaberg to inspect their homes. There were emotional scenes as families grasped the reality of the devastation. Beatles fans are in for a treat later this month when Ringo Starr tours the country. It'll be the first time he's performed in Australia in almost half a century, and he expects a quieter welcome this time around. And Ringo will be here in Perth at Challenge Stadium on February 21. Still to come in 7 News, shark spotting. The shark alarms are sounding, but are there really more off Perth beaches? And the young Aussie with big cricket dreams. New figures show a big increase in the number of great white sharks spotted near WA beaches this summer. Experts say some of that rise is likely due to the increased number of aerial patrols.
If you thought that beaches were closed more often this summer, you're right. So far, the Surf Lifesaving helicopter has spotted 22 great white sharks. That's compared with just 3 the summer before. 246 sharks have been spotted since September, and with months to go, the government says that figure will beat last year's season total of 247.
You've got more hours in the air, more hours on the water and more hours on the beach. You're going to see some additional, by all means.
The government also trumpeting today that the revamp of the NIB Stadium will be on budget and ready for the first Western Force home game in late March.
No, I think they will deliver because it looks pretty good out there with the pitch they're going to be putting down.
Labor is still on its MetroNet track, promising today train stations for Canning Vale, one at Rantford Road, another at Nicholson Road. Chantel Tui, 7 News.
The Fisheries Department says it won't take action against boxer Danny Green for this photo he put on his Facebook page. The department received complaints about the photo regarding the ethics of catching sharks. Fisheries say the tiger shark was within the legal size limit to be caught. A young Sydney man is determined to make sure his disability is no barrier to achieving life goals. Corey Webster is training to be an international cricket scorer with some help from his mates at the top. That's all from the 7 News team for now. I'll have updates throughout the evening. Good night.